What if I told you a homeowner in Melrose Park accepted $175,000 cash offer from one of those we buy houses companies? And just months later, that same house sold for $280,000. The crazy part? The investor didn't add square footage, didn't build an addition, and didn't completely remodel the entire home. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what they did, how long it took them to sell, and whether the original seller may have left a lot of money on the table. Today we're heading to Melrose Park, suburb just west of Chicago. Now, this property was a brick ranch built in the 1950s, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, just a little bit over 1,000 square feet. So nothing special, just your standard home. In August, the homeowner sold the property directly to a cash buying investment company for $175,000. Now, every situation is different. Maybe the seller inherited the home and didn't want to deal with it. Maybe they needed a quick closing and fast cash. Maybe they didn't want to deal with repairs, or maybe they simply thought that was the best offer available to them. But let's look at what happened next. After purchasing this property, the investor appears to have completed fairly basic cosmetic updates that, from a bank appraiser's perspective, wouldn't really add to the value. From what I could see, the major improvements were interior paint, new carpet, some new PVC laminate flooring. No additional square footage, no room additions, no major structural changes. They did paint the basement and the basement floor. And that's usually kind of a red flag for buyers when you see a freshly painted basement floor, like they're trying to hide something, water damage or something like that. I usually don't advise sellers to do that. Then, on October 30th, the investor listed the home for $299,900. And this is where things get interesting. Unlike some of the other examples that I've covered, buyers did not rush in immediately. Just a few days later, on November 5th, the price was reduced to $294,900. The home sat through the holidays. On January 9th, the investor canceled the listing, relisted it as a new listing at $289,900. Then another reduction came on January 28th to $284,900. Finally, February 3rd, the property went under contract, but the deal didn't stick. On March 15th, the home came back on the market. 10 days later, under contract again. Then, March 31st, back on the market once more. Another price reduction followed on April 8th, down to $279,900. Then, on April 15th, the home finally went under contract again. After all that, the property closed for $280,000. The big question: so what does this tell us? First, the investor didn't have an easy win. The property spent roughly 170 days on the market. There were multiple price reductions, multiple failed contracts, and carrying costs for months. The investor had taxes, insurance, utilities, closing costs, and the renovation expenses the entire time. But here's what still stands out. The original seller received $175,000. The final buyer paid $280,000. That's a difference of $105,000. Now, obviously, the investor didn't pocket $105,000. There were renovation costs, holding costs, commissions, transfer taxes, attorney fees, closing expenses. But even after all those expenses, there's likely still a substantial profit remaining. And that's why I always tell homeowners, before accepting any cash offer, get a second opinion, even a third or a fourth. Not because cash buyers are bad. They absolutely serve a purpose. Sometimes speed and convenience are worth more than top dollar. But you should know what your home might sell for on the open market before deciding. Because once you sign that contract and close, you don't get a second chance to find out what buyers may have been willing to pay. So what do you think? If you owned this Melrose Park home, would you have taken the guaranteed 175 cash offer and walked away from repairs and uncertainty? Or would you have listed it on the open market to see if you could get more? Let me know in the comments. And if you're considering selling a home anywhere on Chicago's northwest side or surrounding suburbs, reach out. Before accepting a cash offer, I'll show you all of your options so you can make the decision that's best for your situation, not someone else's bottom line.